Minister of Trade, Commerce and Industry, Honorable Chipoka Mulenga, thank you so much for joining us on this program tonight.
Thank you very much. Good evening, and thank you for having me.
You've been a keen advocate for the reduction of prices, especially that from early last year, the macroeconomic indicators of our country began to produce a very positive result. Inflation began to reduce, the exchange rate also began to perform very well, and the economy was growing in the positive. And you've been asking manufacturers why this is not trickling down to the average Zambian. Now, the ZAM issued a statement to the effect that they are responding to these macroeconomic indicators. Let's begin from there and what the reaction from government is.
Brilliant. First, before I even get to respond directly to the question that you've asked, I want to say something that is very important that the country must appreciate and take note of. I like it when you've said early last year, we saw that some economic indicators showing positive trends. We must be very much aware as a country that from the onset, we've been clear and transparent about it, that we took over, just like everybody knows, a debt mountain, a declining economy, minus 2.8, among many other things. So the first thing that we needed to do, we needed to sort out the debt mountain we had through a debt restructuring. Borrowing the words of His Excellency the President, I want to congratulate Zambia for fulfilling the entire IMF restructuring structure. We have successfully been rated as a disciplined country, as a country that has achieved the objectives that we had set for the debt restructuring. It's a leadership and the entire citizenry that we owe it unto. Then we had to now make reforms in our economic policies, in our fiscal and financial policies. We need to make reforms so that now we can achieve something that is sustainable for all of us. Building an economy resiliently does not happen overnight. It takes some time. I know today people are saying, no, we are seeing prices coming down, it's political because it's in a political year. We couldn't have done it the moment we took over, because every economic fundamental was against us. Inflation was 23%. Definitely prices needed to go up. The currency was falling on a daily basis. We were almost at 28 kwacha to a dollar. We were 23 when we took over, 23 to 24. It slightly got better a little bit and then it started falling back. We needed to control it. The reason why the country was not exporting anything, the mines which produce copper, which is our chief earner of forex, was not functional. The mines were closing on a monthly basis in the past times. But now we began opening one mine after the other, one mining after the other. And that's why the president has been saying we need to work after work. Beyond the mining sector, where we are producing more copper to export, we needed to invest more in the agricultural sector. Unfortunately, we were hit with the biggest drought, the worst devastating drought in the last 40 years of our living memory in our country. So this is the challenge that we had now with our ambition of producing more was affected, and our food inflation skyrocketed. But we still never relented. We produced fertilizer and seed on time for our people. So it has been a culmination of works that we've been doing, because it's not only about food production that was hampered by the drought, it is also the productive sector. In the mining sector, our SMEs, and everyone else was affected. So we say now as a country, for the past 60 years, we have only depended on one source of energy, which Dr. Kaunda left to us. Dr. Kaunda left to us power generation capacity, which could sustain ably 3 million population people. But now we are over 20 million people. So we needed to increase the capacity of generation, which we had not done. As much that the drought was devastating and bad, we drew the positive concern out of it. As your public servants, we now need to invest in alternative sources of energy. And that's why you see that now we are increasing the production, the generation capacity of Mamba Collieries by double, 300 megawatts of power. We have brought in the private sector, which is we are calling United Capital Fertilizer, or should I say Wonderful Group. They are putting up 600 megawatts of coal power production. The president, just last week, you saw him witnessing the signing of an agreement between ZESCO and Longi, 1,000 megawatts of solar. So we are diversifying the energy supply. Should we have a drought again, Zambia should not go through what it went through. We can switch on coal. Should we have a challenge with coal, we can switch on solar. We are having diverse kind of solar power productions. And between Zambia and Zimbabwe, we have also going now in the Batoka Gorge. Hydro again, we've agreed to fund that. It's about $4 billion worth of a project where each country is bringing $220 million to the table, $440 million.
Yeah.
Then the other thing we'll get from the private sector. So that is what is happening. Now, all these works, high productivity, working collectively with the country to make sure that our inflation drops from 23 to 9.4, a single digit. Our kwacha now is stable and it's resilient. If anything, it is even stronger. So now for the products we are buying with little kwacha, bring more products than we were before. These things now have started now yielding results, giving positive results. And we are happy and excited to see that the private sector is beginning to respond to the positive gains of you and I, the public servants, of the economy. So it is an exciting...
Why do you think they've taken time to respond?
I'll tell you something.
Because you've been on this for a long time. You've been calling that the manufacturers do reduce the prices of these commodities.
I agree. Actually, not really to disagree with you to say last year, in the early last year, we saw positive trends. The positive trends of our economy started showing in 2024, December. So if you remember the first call I made to the manufacturers, to the retailers, to the wholesalers, or to the traders, say, can you start now passing on the benefit to the Zambian public, was in February 2025. Because from December, January, February, we had started recording a positive growth in our economy. But the argument from the manufacturers, or for whoever is in trade, is saying, look, allow us to get rid of old stock. Why they were, in my opinion, why were they holding back, resisting to implement the right pricing for the people? The major reason that I may be wrong, but the major reason is that they did not have confidence that these positive gains will be sustained. Because they have seen in the past where regimes would, for a month, induce fake currencies, or should I say, induce some certain parameters in the economy to strengthen it for a while. But after a while, it goes back to its bad system. But our president is a man who refuses to do moment appeasements. He strongly believes the economy should work its way up by putting in the right fundamentals that are sustainable and resilient. I'll tell you something. I'm the Minister of the Economy, Commerce, Trade and Industry. Our government today has got about 5.4, 5.8 billion of import cover. And that now, what it means is we can stay for a certain period of time without exporting or importing things and survive as a country. I asked the president, Mr. President, the kwacha is not good. Can we put in some dollars to sustain us for a while? And he said, okay, if you put in $2 billion or $3 billion in the economy, and then it gets exhausted in the next 6 months, what will you do? If anything, that is wasteful. Let's produce more. Let's open more mines. Let's farm more the copper. Let's invest more in value addition. Don't take it for granted, my dear brother. The fertilizer that we are seeing today, we used to import $600 million worth of fertilizer every year away from the government treasury. We have now set up our own fertilizer plant. We are not importing, we are now a net exporter of fertilizer in the Southern African region. So all these other countries around us are importing from us. Forex is coming. Manganese, which we used to export in its raw form, the instructions from the president were very clear. Can we find a way to make sure that part of this manganese is processed here? Now we are proud to say that we are producing batteries for our own cars.
We're going to speak about production later on, Minister. When you began to have this agenda to call on the manufacturers to reduce prices, the country was divided.
Yeah.
Others were rallying behind you. Others were against you. Those who are against you are saying that government wants to interfere in the natural principles of the market forces.
Price controls and everything.
Price controls. The government now wants to control prices of these commodities. Is it what is happening in the background?
Okay.
That you're compelling these manufacturers to reduce prices?
You can't take the private sector on like that and they let you go. Because they have got their interest to serve as a private sector, their profits to grow. But I want to demystify that tag of price controls. We're a government that believes in free market economy and the principles that are enshrined in it. But it's a responsibility of a responsible leadership to remind all the players to pass on the benefits to the end user. Let me say, for lack of a better term, we are the union for the peasant and public. You have given us a responsibility to make sure that the economic fundamentals are good. The inflation is good, the fuel prices are good, electricity is stable, among many other things, and we have done it. It's not very common in any economy that you find that inflation, fuel cost, among other things, they are stable. You find that these four fundamentals, you find that two are okay, three are falling. But we've got now three, all of the four, in line. So while we do this, it's now over a year, all these fundamentals are okay. And to some extent, to some other wholesalers, retailers, or traders, it was a point now to make mega profits. But what is the point of me as your servant in trade to just sit and watch when I've made all these fundamentals good for the traders? And then it can't just be for the business owners. It must be passed on to you and I. It must be passed on to even an unborn child, who the mother is breastfeeding, who the mother is expectant, and needs to get good dietary food. So it's more reason why we are to engage them. Colleagues, we have done what you asked us for. We have given you the energy is available, the fuel is lower, the inflation is lower. Can you now pass on the benefits to the people? Not that we are trying to impose price controls, no. But we should remind them when they don't do what they have to do. In the last 3, 4, 5 months, did you hear me talk about it? No. ZAM themselves just took up the initiative and made the announcement. What happened? After ZAM had made the announcement, we went to do that. We are not a government that goes behind the cameras or behind the curtains and infuse something else. No. You're talking about the entire association of manufacturers. It has never been done. If it has been done in our country before, it has been a very long time, where deliberately the manufacturers, the wholesalers, the retailers say, government, you've done your part, now let's pass on the benefit. Usually you find that when fundamentals are good, prices just, it's either they'll stay like that, and when they get bad, they push prices overnight. So now, it's a positive thing. So I want to assure you and assure the country that we are still calling on, it's our responsibility on your behalf. And in fact, we even call on you, the fourth estate, who are the media, to also take initiative on us as partners. Go into these manufacturers and say, look, you are complaining inflation was 23, it's now 9.4. You're complaining fuel was 35, now it is 24. You're complaining that the exchange rate was 28, now it is 19. So what are you giving on to the people? Let's listen to their concerns. Why are they not doing what they're why are they not doing what they're supposed to do?
The main concern initially was the cost of production, that the cost of production was still very high. This was due to the fact that we had an energy deficit, but like you rightly put it today, the electricity situation in the country has... Yes. But let's talk about what you initially spoke about, Minister. The sustainability of these macroeconomic indicators. Today, inflation is standing at 9.4%, single digit. The economy is growing at over 5.2%. The exchange rate is doing fantastic. How sustainable are these indicators?
Brilliant.
Because today, everything is pointing in the positive, but we don't know what tomorrow will bring.
Follow us exactly what we've been doing as a government from the day we took over the reins of the government, our servitude to you as public servants. We have always been calling for one thing: work after work. Not tantameni, Not go and insult this one, will pay you more. Not go and slap this one, will pay you more. Work after work. What have we done as a government? We want to enhance productivity. To an extent, we are unpopular in this regard to some people because we want them to earn their money. We want everybody to work, not to queue up and be given money. When we continue with the attitude of work, we build a sustainable and resilient economy. Mines were closed. I worked for Konkola Copper Mines for 15 years. It was almost shutting down. It was under liquidation for almost 7 years. There was no productivity going on there. Now they are producing more. Look at Mopani Copper Mines for 4.5 years under liquidation. Now they are producing more. Look at Kitumba Mine, fresh, it has come on board, they are producing. Look at Lumwana and Kansanshi. They've invested $1.25 billion and $2 billion respectively. That productivity is continuing. So we can guarantee the country that as long as the UPND government remain in office, policy consistency and stability is guaranteed. And this is what gives confidence into the nation, gives confidence into both the local and foreign investments. So you are assured that we'll continue to advocating for more work after work. And besides that, for the first time in a very long time after Dr. Kaunda, we are investing more into value addition. There is no economy, we've come to believe. The president has said there is no economy that can grow if you don't invest in value addition. Value addition brings industrialization. Industrialization brings job creation. Job creation that also gives birth to businesses, entrepreneurs, among many other things. So this is what we are doing actually to sustain the free education we have, the continuous recruitment of civil servants and salary raises, among many other things. So it is from these different policies that we brought on board that has brought sustainability.
The idea of value addition, but perhaps let's not discuss these things in abstract. Maybe paint a picture to us which of the sectors or which specific industries have you value added that is producing what we are seeing today.
Excellent, excellent. I'll talk about value addition in this regard, okay? First, let me talk about manufacturing and production. We, for a long time, have always been an extractive economy, where we extract and we ship it out like that. It's not sustainable. We have seen where it has brought us, and we are not growing from it. It just perpetuates our dependency on things. But now we've decided as a country, and part of the policies of the UPND in our manifesto are that value addition is key and critical. That we believe in it. It's a more reason now, even in the copper industry, for years, Andrew, you'll agree with me, there has been breeding frustration from the public where they've seen copper moved in its raw form, sometimes to the worst extent, concentrates being exported, while concentrators and smelters cannot function. The president has given me a directive. By the year 2034, Zambia should be the biggest producer of electric cables in Africa. We don't want to pride ourselves only as the biggest producer of copper. We will get back to our original position. Beyond that, we are number 2 now, but we are focused. We'll get back to our original position as the biggest extractor of copper from the ground. But we want also to now get first ever position of the biggest producer of electric cables. Don't forget this. Dr. Kaunda, may so rest in peace, he gave us Zamefa as the only copper processor. Mwansa came in addition, brought in Newcamp. May so rest in peace. But these two, Zamefa was only performing between 30 to 35% capacity. Newcamp was almost shutting down because they had set up a plant in Dubai. Do you know why they set up a plant in Dubai? The government never had a policy of making the mine supply copper directly to the processors in Zambia. All the processors were buying our copper from either Dubai or London, then it comes back. Imagine the production costs and the hassle just to have it access to it. It was difficult. Myself and the Minister of Infrastructure, Honorable Milupi, because of his vast experience in the mining industry, were charged with a responsibility by the president to sit with all the mining entities, to have the mining and to have the processors, Zamefa and Newcamp, have the first right of refusal to the copper, raw copper, so they can process. They have it now. Just that policy shift, where now all the copper mines can give copper first to the processors here, made us in the last 4 years bring in 5 more copper processors. Uniflex is new, Proton is new, among many others. So now Zambia has got 7 copper processors. 5 have been added in the last 4 years. So it is more confidence that is giving us that in future, by the year 2034, we should produce more electric cables than any other company. Just in these 5 copper processors that have come, we have attracted 7,000 direct new jobs. So this is amazing. And imagine if we can set up 20 more. Because the 7 copper processors don't have the capacity yet to make sure that all the copper producers give them and we export copper. The capacity is not there yet. We are still building on. That's how come you see that some trucks will still leave with raw copper. But it is a building block. It's wheels in motion. We'll get there. That's why even our Vision 2034 is that we should be the biggest producers of electric cables because we are optimistic. More copper processors will come on board and the existing copper processors will expand capacity. So that one has been big. Now, let's go into the agricultural sector.
Yeah.
Before I even go to the agricultural sector, manganese. Manganese has never been processed in this country beyond what we are seeing today. Sunvot, which is set up in Chiwombo. Don't forget, Chiwombo, those emphases you see, was earmarked to be warehouses for finished products from Asia. The president said those warehouses must be transformed into industrial yards. That's how come you see that there are vaccines now that are getting done. Just in there, we are now processing copper. One of the copper processors is there. And now we are processing car batteries. I encourage Zambians, buy local. Local is lacquer. We are now putting Sunvolt batteries in our own cars from our own manganese that we process. Because manganese was always going to India, was always going to Malaysia for processing, but now we're processing it in this country and we have got our batteries and we're exporting. So those exports from the batteries, export from the electric cables is strengthening our currency. Let's go into agriculture and agro-processing. $600 million of fertilizer imports was coming to this country. We've stopped that capital flight. Instead of us sending out the dollars, we are now earning the dollars because we have set up our own fertilizer plant. Workers' compensation under the Ministry of Labor and Social Security has partnered with the investor. So we're working together. So that United Capital Fertilizer, you own it as Zambia. So we are producing our fertilizer. Not very long ago, I had an interview just a few months after we took over office at Diamond TV. When you asked me, what are you going to do with fertilizer? It's going at 1.5. It's not 1.5 anymore. Here in Lusaka, you find it at 850 kwacha. Because of the free market economy, it moves from Lusaka into Kasama, into Chingola, it reaches 900, 1,000 kwacha. It's free market economy. But ultimately, what is the retail price that is everybody's getting it? It is lower than what it is.
What is the share value in terms of what we own for that fertilizer company?
I need to give you that exact. I'll be very academic to master all this, but all I know is we've invested in it. I'll give you the actual shares, I think, when I get from the Ministry of Labor. Sure.
What ZAM said was that only 30 manufacturing industries companies have, gone ahead to reduce prices.
Yeah.
What about these other companies?
It's interesting. It's interesting. And just for the comfort of this, just that act that ZAM did has inspired other manufacturers. Yesterday, I got a call from Africa Milling. He called me and said, look, Minister, we want to be on the bandwagon. We are reducing the price of milling. I think it was going at 320. Now they want to reduce it to 270 kwacha, which is an amazing thing. We want more to take a leaf. And me, as your public servant, I will lobby on behalf of the Zambian public. It's not enough to see that only 30 can respond to the positive gains in the economy. We need more to do that because these gains of the economy are affecting every trader in our country, every manufacturer. So why should it only be the 30? We need even the 200 to come on board because it is not fair if the 30 are only domiciled maybe in Lusaka or Kabwe. What happens now to the residents of Chingola, to the residents of Kasama, the residents of Namwala, the residents of Livingston, Sinda? They also have to get the benefits because the benefits of what we have done are communal. So everybody now should pass on the benefit. So you can call me names to say he's imposing this. I'm not imposing it. I'm just reminding them. And the public must actually appreciate what we're doing. We're trying to remind the producers of goods whom we have supported with good fundamentals, whom sometimes to an extent we have even given incentives to pass on the benefit to the people. And you, the media, work with us on this one. It is good for you, it is good for me, it's good for everyone.
I don't know how this is going to work out for you because without you sounding like you are imposing on these manufacturers to reduce prices, because obviously the cost of production has reduced because of the fact that the economy is performing very well today. Is there any penalty that is going to be imposed on the manufacturers that will maintain the prices as well as?
We can't impose penalties. When we bring penalties, then now we are imposing, then that is price controls. Remember, it's a free market economy. Democracy is very costly. It's a very expensive undertaking. Anybody can say, look, it's my price. What can you do to me? Free market economy, I'll sell at this point. But all I can just do is ask them to be reasonable. And again, I've got an agency that we call Consumer Protection Commission. Under Consumer Protection Commission, it's a global, it's actually the WTO, World Trade Organization policy, where the maximum profit on anything that you can make should be 30%. That's the threshold, the maximum. So we should look into all those things. There are even agencies. It shouldn't be just a moral obligation. Like you said, talking about imposition, we can't impose penalties on those, but they should all be done through the Consumer Protection Commission statutes. If it's against this, the laid down procedures, yes, then we can engage. But ultimately, we just make sure that as much as free market economy is at play, can we act responsibly? So this is something that we should do together.
The people that are saying, Minister, you are doing all these things because the economy is responding very well because of an election year. The people are not coming from a point of ignorance. People are coming from a point of knowledge because they've seen this thing happen before, that in previous governments, when it's an election year, automatically you begin to see electricity, automatically you begin to see the kwacha performing well and prices of commodities coming down. What is different with the New Dawn government being in place today and people not thinking the way they've been thinking over the years when it's an election?
You've asked me a very good question. And I got very politically active prior to the 2021 elections. Andrew, let's go back to the past regime, which I had to talk about. Did they take over a bad economy? No, it was a good economy. The economy was growing at 7%. They ran it down. We went into an election 2021 with load shedding. If they were able to correct it because of elections, why didn't they do it? You can't provide what is not available. No matter how much the elections can come, even on the voting day, there was load shedding in 2021. Because there was nothing that they have. There was no electricity. Just literally, there was no electricity.
4 months before the elections, people having
during the election,
power.
During elections, Andrew, 2021 there was no power. I went to even your media houses. I remember I was at Phoenix. Lucci was asking me questions. Said, "What are you going to do about we're running with gensets outside?" I said, "Give us some time." During elections, the past regime, how much was the dollar? 23. It was elections. Did they have the ability to control it? Zero. They didn't have the ability. You can't give what is not available. You only produce what is attainable. Look, we are not a lot that dupes people. You switch on Mulungushi Textiles today with all the equipment and shut it because it's unsustainable after you close elections. You only give what is available, and this is what we are giving. The economy, Andrew, we could not have done what we are doing today 4 years ago because it was not available. And we've been working tirelessly to make sure that we correct it. In the first 2 years of HH's rule as president of this country, he was flying all over Europe, all over America, in China. Why was he doing it? That is a place where we were in debt with. Those are the countries that we were owing. He was in France. Why? We owed the Paris Club. He was in the US. We owed the companies there, the entities there. He was in China. We were owing China. So he traveled to negotiate with the people that we owed money. Now that the district structuring is done, he's always at home. He's in Choma, he's in Kasama, he's in Chingola, he's everywhere, here at home. So it's not elections that is making this thing happen. Coincidentally, it is coming to play in a time like this one. And as your public servants, responsible ones for that matter, we will not stop working because there is an election. We still have a responsibility to the Zambian people.
You don't think the coincidence breeds a lot of suspicion?
Let them look, it brings suspicions, but the facts or realities will speak for itself. I've given you an example of 2021. Why didn't they bring power? Because there was an election. Why didn't they control the economy? Because there was an election. Because it was not there. You don't give... Okay, if I ask you a question, it's election time. What can we put in the economy to control it?
The
fundamentals must be right.
The jump to load shedding was just extreme. People were experiencing 6 hours of power, having power for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Automatically now, people are having power every day, 7 days a week. If the argument is that if you're doing something in the background, this could have been gradual, that you give us, 10, 15, but it was just automatic that...
Two things that have made us have power as much as we have it. Two things. Number one, last year we had a very good rainfall. This year we've had another one. So the water levels have risen. Why should we withhold it from the people just because they'll be scared the jump is high? No, we should give what is available. Number 2, the restructuring of the energy policies. Because right now, the water we have, right, that we're generating, if we don't import power, we'll fall back into a load shedding system. There are 2 things that we did. We restructured the energy system, the policies there. In the past, ZESCO was the only producer and provider, service provider of electricity into our homes and into the companies. CEC was one of the players, but in a small way. But what did we do as a New Dawn government? We restructured, we reformed the policies. We brought in the private sector to import power from wherever they can import and transmit through ZESCO transmission lines and pay ZESCO as much as they take now to the entities that we need. That's how come you see CEC has invested more, Canona has come on board, among many other independent players. There's argument that the people have been talking about. So why isn't ZESCO doing this? ZESCO has been trampled on, we have allowed the private players, we're even making wrong assertions. Andrew, I need to tell you this. ZESCO doesn't have the balance sheet to support it import power. They don't even have the credibility. As a country, in the past regime, we are owing millions of dollars, in their tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, to a Turkish company called Kapower. Remember the Turkish ship that is in Mozambique? So do you think ZESCO will go back to them and get power? They can't. So now there is independent power, power producers that have gone there and buy and sell to us. We've got CEC going in Mozambique and other places, buy and sell to us. Let me demystify, let me remove this lie that they've been saying, no, we've been selling power to Namibia. No, we're not. In the past years, I take ownership. We were selling power to Namibia, and we couldn't stop immediately. We were giving them about, must be, look, the Minister of Energy will give you the right figures. Yeah. It must be 150 to 160 megawatts. We couldn't stop immediately. We were stopping gradually, so that they have got a switch-off program, so that until we return what we are having. It is actually through Namibia and Zimbabwe where we are importing power from South Africa, where the transmission lines are coming. And in the past, remember the president of Zambia, HH, went to meet his elder brother, President Mnangagwa, in Zimbabwe last year, and I was with him. We should ask ourselves a question. When this HH travels, what is he traveling for? Results are there to show. Maybe I've not been doing a good job as your minister for trade and industry in highlighting what the president has been scoring. He went there not as a tourist or for luxury. He had an intended purpose for traveling. Remember, Zimbabwe imposed some thousands of dollars as tax for trucks that are passing there. Because sometimes trucks which are coming to Zambia, saying they're coming to Zambia or other places, were dumping fuel in Zimbabwe, and sometimes wrong fuel. So Zimbabwe had to come up with the mechanism to protect themselves. They imposed that tax. Remember again, we are buying from the Southern African Power Pool energy from South Africa. The transmission line is Zimbabwe into Zambia. But Zimbabwe, we had to go there to negotiate with them. Please, this tax that you have put on, it is affecting our trade, our movement of fuel and accessibility, because the route now was 400 kilometers longer to get to us. That's how you saw that the erratic supply of fuel in the country at one point, it is because of that. So the president went to talk to his elder brother to resolve that issue. The other thing, we were buying about 600 megawatts of power from South Africa. But what Zimbabwe was only able to give us must be about 250 to 300 megawatts. So we had to talk to them to see how can we work together to increase transmission capacity. That was done. The Minister of Energy was there, and they've increased, and we're getting about 500 megawatts of power. So that has been resolved. So hence now the power that is available for the people.
Your strategy for job creation is anchored on industrialization, that when you open so many industries, then you create thousands of jobs. Do you have an idea how many jobs you've created, Minister?
Let me not talk about the public sector, because people say, no, you've only created about almost 70,000 jobs in the public sector. I'll tell you in the private sector. And get this, in the mining sector alone, you're talking about KCM, Mopani Copper Mines. I can even mention them individually. Mopani Copper Mines, just from the onset, they created 2,300 jobs, and 300 more are coming. Kitumba, which is just opened there in Central Province, has created 3,000 jobs, plus 2,000, that is 5,700 jobs. Konkola Copper Mines came with professional jobs, 150 jobs that they created. Mimbula Mine, which was commissioned by the president in Chilawombo, has created 3,000 more jobs. You're talking about FQM, which has invested $2 billion in the super pit, has created 1,800 jobs. I can say these figures over and over to you again. The same thing that has happened to Mingomba, which is in Chilabombo, and others. So in short, just in the mining sector alone, we have created over 30,000 direct jobs in the mining sector alone. Now let's go into the manufacturing sector. I'm talking to you about the 5 copper processors. 7,000 jobs direct have been created. Let's go into the fertilizer plant. By the way, the fertilizer plant is not only United Capital Fertilizer. We're also talking about Nitrogen Chemicals of Zambia. Nitrogen Chemicals of Zambia, we have invested $6 million, and they are contributing now. Nitrogen Chemicals of Zambia was almost a defunct entity. It's now got a blending plant and a granular plant, total with capacity of 400 metric tons of fertilizer per annum. And they've created, well, in NCZ, it's more than creation of jobs, but saving of jobs. We've saved the jobs that are there, and we've created only about 250 local jobs in Kafue. And then at Capital Fertilizer, 10,000 direct jobs. And this year alone, 10,000 direct jobs are coming from the United Capital Fertilizer economic zone through the phosphate plant. So collectively, in the private sector, we are creating to almost 100,000 jobs of direct jobs that we have created in the transport sector, among others.
In the multi-economic facility zones, do we have Zambian companies?
Yes, that's a good question you've asked me. I want to thank members of parliament, both the opposition and the ruling party, including the independent ones. We worked together as Zambian nationals. Prior to 2021, Zambia never had a policy that authorized the Zambian companies to set up in economic zones. The policy only gave incentives, tax holidays to foreign nationals. President HH said, this is unacceptable. We need to build our economy with our people. It is the more reason why, Andrew, pay particular attention to how patriotic and pro-national HH is. He said in his first public address as a presser he gave to the country, he cancelled all timber licenses that were owned by foreign nationals. And he said all timber licenses now must be owned by Zambians. Timber, Mukula, Rosewood, whichever, that's how the scandals have even gone down. Because now Zambians own that. And he said, do not sell these timber licenses. Work in partnerships and joint ventures with the foreign nationals who have got the money and the capital. You have got the resource. That is what has happened. He also cancelled all artisanal mining licenses and says, no, he didn't cancel for the mining. He just said, now from today going forward, artisanal mining license should be a preserve of the Zambians, being considered by the Zambian public. Now we're talking about foreign direct investment and local investment, economic zone. As minister responsible for that, I was sent by cabinet to go to parliament and present a trade and investment bill 2022 to revise it so that it can be all inclusive. Even Zambians can invest in economic zones. Now Zambians are investing in the economic zones at a better or more relaxed rate than foreign nationals. You only
Would you name four companies except Java?
Except?
Java.
Java Foods.
Java Foods.
Java Foods is one of them. Java Foods is one of them. Trade Kings is one of them. And there's I don't want to make a mention, because if I mention Zambia breweries, you say it's not, they're too big. I want to mention this company that is owned by just a very, very young Zambian on. Even Farmanova is setting up there, and Mailan is setting up there. These are Zambian companies, I'm telling you, all this in the pharmaceutical industry. I've forgotten the name of a young Zambian guy whom I wanted to mention, very, very young. Java Foods with Izu Noodles, that is for our sister Monica, among other things. So we've got about a number of them now setting up there. And the terms are very flexible, more than the foreign nationals. For a foreign national to set up there, I think you need, if I'm not mistaken, sorry on figures, you may correct me, must be about $250,000. But for a Zambian, only $50,000 you set up. And you enjoy the tax holidays, you enjoy the concessions, everything for everyone. So we are on the right track.
With a few minutes we're remaining with, let's talk about politics a little bit. You recently won the Kasama mayor by-election, where you were campaigning with your fellow ministers. Congratulations, first of all, to that. But others have criticized you that You had over 10 ministers going to camp, in Kasama for a mayoral election. Others have raised questions of this election not being free and fair. You, the UPND, using your machinery to bulldoze your way to win this election. Let's talk about your reaction to these concerns that are coming from your opponents.
Okay, you tell me the more than 10 ministers that were there. I can mention them. I was campaign manager for the election. There is me, Elias Mubanga, Paul Kabusu, Elvis Nkandu, Nason Musonda. These are the 5 ministers. Honorable Msokotwane, when he was visiting Northern Province, he passed through an Honorable Jack Mwimbu, the 2 of them, and they left. Or including Honorable, about 7 of them, the 3 of them. So the 5 of us were there. That I take ownership. Not this myth that they're saying over the whole cabinet. Now let me tell you something. They say there was the 5 of us, and we bulldozed our way through. How? I'm a politician before I'm a minister. I am a member of parliament, elected because I'm minister. Do we have any minister in Kasama that should have stayed there to campaign? No. Do we have any elected official in Kasama who should have stayed there to campaign? 0. So it is responsible for us to be there. Now let me mention, how many former ministers were there that were campaigning? Many of them, you know them. They were there campaigning. So those are the, and you still call them honorables, in the same way you call us. So they are our equivalent. So now, how did we ambush our election? Our election, you know who we are. We're a political party that stands for values, devoid of violence. It is a message that we give the people of Kasama. Not a single day did I or any of my colleagues campaign and come back in the field. Somebody has been hacked, somebody has been stoned, somebody has been insulted. We spoke of the good policies of the UPND government based on our manifesto. We spoke on what we have done from a central government point of view. The free education, social economic development, all the supports that we're doing. By the way, I should tell you, Kasama, I'm proud of Kasama, and I'm happy I was there. And I thank His Excellency the President gave me the responsibility to campaign as campaign manager alongside with my brothers and sisters that we worked with. This time, in the last 4 years, Kasama has continued to see development. State-of-the-art airport. That airport, it only had gravel before we took over. Today, that Kasama before 2021, it was making per month 20,000 kwacha per month. Landing rights, landing what, and everyone who passed through. Today per month, it makes over 300,000 per month. From 20 to 300,000. I'm Minister of Commerce. I'm happy. To host business, to grow, people need a place to stay of decency. Under our reign, in Kasama, we've built a star-rated hotel, the Urban. The Ministry of Labor and Social Security are building a mall. ShopRite is housed there, Hungry Lion, among many others, are there. These are developmental infrastructure that the people of Kasama are able to see. So it is those things that we were pointing the people to, that they're able to see. We understand there's a lot more that we need to do in Kasama. The roads that link to Kasama, from Mpika into Kasama, Mungu into Kasama, Luwingu into Kasama, Mporokoso into Kasama, they have to be done. They were left by Dr. Kaunda. We have to go in and work on them. But the people have seen that we are a genuine leadership. Hakainde Hichilema does not segregate where he's dispersing his development. Everybody is all included. Because in my area, in Kasama, where we come from, people used to say, no, you can't vote Hakainde Hichilema. Akapatrule Chalo. He's a tribalist, he's a Tonga, he can't do this. He will divide the country. He doesn't like this kind of tribe. But how is he giving free education to everyone? Social development, a new hotel, which he hasn't even built where he comes from. A new hotel, a new airport, among many other things. And the people of Kasama are people saying, this man is good. But we were skewed or obscured by the people who were speaking as politicians that this is what it is.
This is traditional stronghold of the Patriotic Front. And obviously, having your footprint in Kasama is a score for you. But also others have argued that the dynamics of a by-election are so different from those of a general election. Are you confident that going into the general election, seats like the Kasama will be retained?
Brilliant, very confident. Look, people, we should be realistic. We are not very far from elections right now. We lost the Kasama seat. The Chawama seat. Why didn't they themselves say, we are not happy we've won the Kasama seat, the Chawama seat, because we were closer to the elections? They said we are popular in Chawama, so we've returned it. But when we win as a ruling party, they say no, because it cannot be really justifiable that they are popular just because we are going closer to the elections. When there is victory, it must be credited. I was sent into Kasama. I stayed there for 5 weeks, interacting with the people. I took leave, engaging with the people, and the people believed in what we are saying. Just messages. But the violent political party, you saw them. The same, these guys who have now changed from PF into FDD. You've seen a car that the police have detained. It's a car of a lawmaker in the PF, filled with stones and harmful materials. That is who they are. To them, they are synonymous with violence. They are synonymous with thuggery. I was looking at my mother, Madam Jean Kapata, when they had a presser recently, cautioning and warning themselves, where she said, if you don't listen to what we are saying, she was even pushanya. That is who they are. To them, for us, is a message. Is about the wits. Is about. That's why in Bemba I'll say it this way. In UPND, we don't say we are to our Mufikansa Chalo. If Kansa Chalo, that's why you see them fighting, insulting each other. If it were we are Chalo, what we advocate to the people is development.
There's a council of elders that is currently organizing to sit down the opposition for them to unite and field in one candidate. This council of elders include Mama Basakunda, Akashambatwa, Lewanika, and all these eminent, people in our country. We saw the position of government through the PS, Ministry of Information, Tabo Kawana, stating that the council of elders mustn't take sides, and if they're cancelling, it must be to cancel, not to organize people to oust a certain government. Others have said that, there's going to be a regime change in the next few months in August. I don't know what your reaction is to that.
I'm glad that my brother Tabo Kawana had given you my answer. Bamaiba Chibesakunda, judge, I know her, and I hold her in very high esteem. She knows me. She sat in this office before. We interact. Akashambatwa, I know him by virtue of his position in the country. I've never met him, among others. But the agenda of the same so-called Council of Elders, don't take my words as that of the UPND. Take my words as that of a citizen of this country who is also in politics, is a missed call. I repeat, the agenda of the same so-called Council of Elders of only siding with one side of political players is a missed call. Elders must have the wisdom of bringing the parties together for a common good of the country. Not elders who take a side and equip one on how to harm the other. Wrong elders. Those are not elders. I'll tell you why I'm using the word elders. An elder is not by how old you are in age. It's about the wisdom you possess and what you bring to the table to bring people together. You may be 15 years old. You may be 20 years old. But God will bless you with the wisdom to counsel even 50-year-old ones. You can have gray hair in your head, but lack the wisdom to bring a country together. An elder is that person who sees the two erring parties or opposing parties and say, guys, sit together for the good of the country. That is what should be a genuine call.
Maybe these elders have realized that you are bad people, you are bad managers of the economy, so you must go.
And I'll tell you this. Genuine elders are those who see if you're not doing right, they'll counsel you. They'll sit with you. They'll guide you. Ask them, have they sat with us? Have they reasoned with us? My dear beloved mother, Bachiwe Sakunda, I've sat with her many times. Not even a day has she spoken vow of what we've done. But many times, even thanking us for being a responsible government. that during the time she was judge for the COMESA, the PF government failed even to pay COMESA to pay the judges. I took over as Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, responsible for COMESA. I sat with her on that chair. And she said, Minister, we've said for years, as hosts of COMESA, we've been failing to remit, to pay to COMESA. The judges across COMESA don't even get paid. Zambia doesn't contribute. I went to Minister of Finance. President H said, pay immediately. She thanked this government for being a prudent financial manager of resources. I met her not very long ago. It must be in Kenya. Yes. No, the recent time I met her was at Mulungushi Conference Center. And she continued to say the same words. So now you telling me that because we are bad economic managers is not true with what she tells me. She's my mother. She told me this. If she did not, she can rebut the
In conclusion, Minister, 187 days to go before the country goes to the polls. Do you see the Zambian people voting you in?
Yes.
Or maintaining?
Exactly.
Or voting you out?
We have provided the right leadership of unity of purpose. I'm not saying we have done everything based on the aspirations of the Zambian people. We've done the most. That's why we want to continue, so that we can continue to provide the right leadership. The unity of purpose that we have demonstrated under the leadership of our church. Very consistent, very disciplined, providing the right leadership to the people, and providing the way forward to where we should go. Decency that has come in the country, the economic recovery gains that we are doing, the educating of a country, which very soon in the next few years, you will see that every Zambian will have attained the right education and will meaningfully contribute without leaving anyone behind, is not what is being demonstrated out there, where every day you see them fighting, where every day each one wants to be a president, where every day they lie, every day they call names. There is stability in the UPND. There is direction under your church. There is provision of right leadership under a church. So the Zambian public must have faith, must have confidence that together we are building a resilient economy, a united one Zambia, one nation, under the leadership of United Party for National Development, led by Hakainde Hichilema. Minister of Trade, Commerce and Industry, Chipoka Mulenga, thank you so much for making the time to speak with me. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you very much, Diamond TV.